Welcome to the Tantra and Yoga podcast. These podcasts are recorded live at Anuttara ashram with Artemis and Bhairav in the Nishka Nation of northern BC, Canada. They bring clarity to some of the fundamental questions by spiritual seekers along the path of awakening.
Did you have any big lessons that came through while you were writing your book?
It was hard. It was really hard. I think in some ways for myself it was a wonderful reflection on how much we've learned over the years. Mm-hmm. Like the reason it was hard was because we had so much to say and the publishers wanted us to say it in a condensed and easy way. When we read that we had 50 words to explain a chakra, we were just like, how is that possible? Because especially for us, in so many parts of Tantra is this wonderful, rich tradition that is simultaneously very simple and very complex. And it's wildly misunderstood, misrepresented, and abused. Mm-hmm. And so it was really important for us because if you want an easy to read book on Tantra, it's usually neo-Tantra, so a new form of Tantra that's usually very focused on sexuality, pleasure, and the senses, which isn't wrong, but it's not authentic or traditional Tantra. And so to have the opportunity to write a very easy to read book on Tantra, I don't know, it almost felt like we have so much to say and we just had to keep condensing it down. So it was a wonderful reflection to see how much we knew, and a good challenge.
Mm-hmm. The thing with Tantra is that there's these two things. There's either neo-Tantra, which talks all about sex and pleasure and all of this, or the other side of things are any book on Tantra that's taken seriously. It's so scholarly that you can't even read the thing. Like it's just so, like you have to learn an entirely new language. You need to learn Sanskrit. And Sanskrit's like such a difficult language as well. So to try to bring an introductory book that wasn't scholarly and to also be an easy reference for people as well was challenging, very challenging. So,
mm-hmm. It was really important that we honored the tradition, mm-hmm. Which was quite complex because, as I was explaining earlier, Tantra, there's like this umbrella of Tantra, but then we also find it in Hinduism, we find it in Buddhism, we find it in Jainism, and so then we're speaking about just Hinduism, and then even more within Hinduism, it breaks off into many different traditions and paths and understandings, and so to try to be as truthful and honest and authentic as we could, and honoring the tradition, while also understanding that even though this is what we're saying, it's not true in this tradition, one hairline over.
Because those traditions like Tantra, in some of the traditions, it involves yoga. It's merged with the Samkhya philosophy of yoga. So then it's not quite Tantra anymore. It's Tantric Yoga, the philosophy of Tantra Yoga. So then, it's, and this is what happens in living traditions as well. They merge and they move with what people need. So
that was another challenge. Is like, do we talk about Tantra as it's existing today, or do we talk about Tantra as it existed 100 years ago, 200 years ago, 500 years ago? So lessons learned, I guess, that there's many more books that could be written.
I've just overheard you guys say, like, the publishers wanted us to do this, like this and this and this, and it's like, like writing a book one day is kind of in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I just was kind of shocked by how many rules and like things. Like, what was this process like with working with a publisher?
Yeah, they're in charge. I don't think you get to say much until you're an established author. It was a excellent opportunity.
Unless you want to self-publish, but then
sure,
it doesn't get the viewership,
or accessibility.
Yeah.
Then is there different standards for if you're writing a fiction rather than, like, say, Harry Potter? Because she just wrote hers like on train. And
right.
Like, it feels like she probably wasn't told that her story has to be certain ways.
Yes.
Different than writing.
I get the sense from these publishers, not really. Like, it's for them, it's like, this is how the book is written, and either you're going to write it or we're going to give it to somebody else to write. Really, the format of this book, in a sense, existed before we did. What they knew was that they wanted to write a book on traditional Tantra, and they wanted it to be an easy, digestible book. And then somehow, well, not really somehow, it's a long story, but a friend told them about us, and that's how that we got kind of invited into a project that existed before us. Even though this was something we'd wanted to write for a long time, it was already there. I think J.K. Rowling is a very exceptional story. We don't hear that very often for authors, that their book is just picked up and loved and a sensation. You are at the mercy of the publishing company. Yeah. And so you, at least speaking to some friends who work in that field, it's our understanding that once you have one book published, now you have a bit more weight where you can say, no, I want my book written this way or that way. But all along the way, we had to be making compromises with them. Yeah.
If you found this podcast helpful, be sure to follow and turn on notifications to be the first to know when new episodes are released. To embody philosophy through practice, join our Sangha membership to access a wide range of Tantra and Yoga classes and community. Hari Om.